Yeah, usually way more of a mess than this. But hi, hello, and good morning. Welcome to Bottom of the Barrel Morning Show. This is your host, Hamza Chaudhry. I'm here in our studio here, Radio Free Brooklyn studio in the heart of Bushwick. I'm here with my trusty co-host, as always, Grant Moore.
Hello.
Hello. We've got some special guest on the show today. The one and only David Drake.
Hi, how's it going?
What's going on?
There it is.
There we go.
Studio clap.
There we go. How was your guys' Thanksgiving? Good?
Please, David.
Yeah. We had a good time. My parents live outside of Boston, so we just kind of drove up there, and I have a daughter, so it's like so you just have to get up at the normal time. It's like you're just in a different place, but it's like your same day.
Nothing has changed.
Yeah,
regardless of the holiday.
You don't really get a break or anything, so it just feels like more.
I feel like whenever I go home to my parents for Thanksgiving, I get to be a little lazy. I get to like revert a little bit back to childhood.
Yeah. That's what I used to do, but now there's a child.
You don't get to be like, hey, parents, this is your child for the weekend.
No, I mean I don't know if my wife totally trusts.
Ooh, yeah, your parents.
Yeah.
She saw what they created, and she was like, ah.
Well, it's weird because like you see how my parents are with my daughter, and you're like, oh, were they just like that with me? And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Is it better or worse than what you think they were to you?
Well, I don't know if I'm like a helicopter parent, but like they're definitely like neglectful.
Yeah, they're the anti-helicopter. They're like the drone parent.
Yeah.
They're just calling you out from the other room or something.
My mom's go-to thing, like we gave her my daughter for a second, and then she turned on like a show on the iPod or iPad.
Yeah.
And we try to like avoid that. I think that's like every parent's trying to avoid to get their kid.
Screen time.
Yeah,
They don't
it's
want
like
their kid
much?
watching TV. Yeah.
And
My mom just did that right away. And then she's like, no, it's cool. You guys used to just watch TV all the time. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
but I have like developmental disorders from it.
Yeah.
I can't pay attention to my closest friends.
Yeah.
That's probably more due to the recent inventions.
Yeah, I was going to say, the TV now is even more crack-like than it was before.
Yeah, but I just used to like stare at cartoons for hours on end.
Yeah, but at least it was like Barney singing slowly.
I don't know. I'm crushing it, so I don't know what I'm complaining about. I'm doing very well.
But now it's like a TikTok. It's like 7-second intervals of like new stuff.
Yeah.
Like I remember I watched, because I was with my like brother's nieces essentially, and they were watching some show, and it just cuts over and over and over again, like every angle on this like kids YouTube show.
Oh, like the
holds
show
for, like,
is trying to mimic the TikTokery.
a little bit, yeah, or at least that's what it felt like.
Well, children have like no attention span, so every child's show is like I mean, I don't know if you guys watch Coco Melon or
No, but that is the banger right now. That's
yeah.
Yes, that is the banger right now.
It is a banger. It's like 10 seconds of one thing, but then they just immediately move to another thing because that's how a kid's brain works.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the shows that I don't know, like I grew up with, they're kind of the same. Like DuckTales was kind of like that, and then it just kind of like moves into the commercials are kind of like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you can't even tell with what we were watching what is a commercial and what is the show almost.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Fruit Loops, the toucan had kind of an adventure.
Yeah.
And
They're
it would
all
be continued.
cartoons.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do remember Juicy Fruit had a commercial every Arthur episode. It would just be like, Juicy, this is brought to you by Juicy Fruit, the greatest juice on it, or whatever. And
I don't remember.
And it just goes back to.
But yeah, I guess that's the point, is like flow into a commercial so that your kids will buy the thing.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I got to say stuff like this on the communist radio show. So or fucking whatever you believe in. I don't care. But yeah, so like, do you ever catch, because don't they like put shit in there for like adults who might be watching? Do you ever catch like a dick in the background? You're like, whoa, what the hell is that?
They don't put any dicks in the like real young ones.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
I also think that's a good thing. No, they add those later.
Always the judge.
Yeah.
No, so if you take like a 7-year-old to see a Pixar movie. The Pixar movie is also kind of for you.
Yeah, like
it's-
Shrek.
Yeah,
Shrek was a good one.
Shrek is made for you.
Mhm.
And they, you're watching Shrek on kind of a different plane than they are.
Yeah.
But when you get like a 2-year-old, which is what I have, then they don't care about you.
Yeah.
So
No. This is for you. It's almost like you can't.
Yeah, they can't throw in some like subtle
Yeah. Like in Shrek-
reference to I don't know, Van Halen or something.
Yeah. In Shrek, they see the guy's tower, and it's like this really long, tall tower. And he's like, you think he's compensating for something? Which is like, no kid's gonna get that. But as a 2-year-old, it's like that's just what the hell?
But what adult is being like, yeah, this kids movie rocks now.
Well, so many adults.
Oh, okay.
Especially high adults.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw Wall-E in theaters when I was in college.
Yeah.
I was high.
Yeah.
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, I
That's
love
a
it.
crazy movie to watch high, too, though.
Yeah.
Because it's like dystopian.
It was crazy because I was sitting next to a child.
Yeah, your child
father.
or just a friend?
This was college, so I had no children.
Oh, okay. Nice.
It was just me, my brother, and then this like child. You know, it was a packed theater.
Yeah.
And I'm high.
Yeah.
And we're just laughing so hard at this robot.
More than the children?
Yeah. That felt crazy.
Yeah. It is smart to figure out and make sure your kids aren't watching anything, because my parents didn't understand. They're from a different country, so they didn't know ratings.
Right.
Like the rated R to them was just a letter on the thing. And since they're renting it, they don't say, hey, by the way, this is. We watched like the movie Scream, you know?
Yeah.
When I was like 6 years old.
Yeah.
And that movie is about a guy killing kids in their house. Like, don't watch
35-year-old teenagers.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
They all like had the crow's feet. But yeah.
We had this this friend of mine, Ben, in middle school. His dad let him watch rated R movies. Like, not a problem.
Cool dad.
Kind of cool. But I remember going over there and I watched Event Horizon.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that?
Isn't that like a mountain climbing movie or something?
No.
Oh.
It is
Idiot.
I know what you're talking about.
Vertical Horizon?
Yeah, Vertical
That would be a band.
Limit or something.
Yeah.
With Chris
Yeah.
O'Donnell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Robin.
I
Yes,
know.
thank you. Thank you for under.
I feel quite left out, actually.
Good. We'll talk about this
Not
movie
so
for the
dumb
rest of
after all. No, Event Horizon was it's a horror movie with Sam Neill where a spaceship goes into another dimension and then it comes back, and the other dimension was hell, so it like picked up a little bit of hell. And then it like I just saw it when I was in middle school, and then I could not stop thinking about it. And it's just like there's all these images of just
that you can't shake.
Sam Neill's eyes are bleeding, and you're just like,
How's-
things are rated R for a reason.
How's your
and
buddy
children
doing?
should not.
How's the rated R kid doing now?
I think he's like running for like local office.
Hey,
Yeah. Dude, he beat the odds. Let's
yeah, Cinderella story.
I think he's trying to be like mayor.
Good. I hope he gets it.
Yeah.
Is it like one of those small towns where it's him versus a dog?
I think he lives just outside of Philadelphia, so maybe it's Philadelphia. My friend's the mayor of Philadelphia.
Yeah, my friend is running for Senate.
Yeah. Well, you never know what leads to what. Maybe watching The Matrix at 3 gives you a good view of the world.
Yeah, I don't totally know what he's up. He invited me to his wedding, and I hadn't seen him since 3rd grade. So that to me, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a red flag.
That feels weird, right?
Yeah, because either he has no friends, or he's like, my friend David's a comedian.
Yeah.
one of the two.
Ooh.
Or like, I don't know, maybe his mom was like, oh, I miss Dave's mom, so maybe you can invite.
Were you and
all of
Dave's
them.
mom Tiders? Oh, Dave's mom.
Yeah,
Dave's
so
mom.
like,
Were you close with his mom?
no, his mom and my mom would talk. So like, maybe his mom was like, this would be a good time to get all of them, and that
Yeah.
could be fun.
Bring the Drakes back.
Because we did stuff like that at my wedding. Like my mom's friends and their kids would show up.
Yeah, so
yeah,
you,
but it's expensive to adding more people is like billions of dollars.
Yeah. It is $1
you
billion.
have a joke about that.
I
right?
do. Yeah,
it's like 700. You did the math. It was like $700 a person.
So you have a cap with the venue, and it was 120 people, and then every person over that, you start getting. They have to add a table, flower arrangement, there's like a certain number of meals that have to be prepared for every table. The venue gets fined. So like it worked out. So like you had a normal price for a person, but then after 120, it was $700 a person.
That's so. First of all, who's making that fine? Who runs in? Is like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they're just,
Dude, they all have
or is it
so
just-
much power.
It's all they want.
It's just a made up. Yeah.
But it's for love.
They know you have to get married, and you'll do whatever you can to make the day happen.
Did you ever think about being like, this is like a birthday party, and then just try to?
The
actually,
Trojan
it's a-
horse marriage.
There's a lot of people who do that, where you're supposed to say that you're having an event, because the second you say wedding, the price goes up 20% or whatever.
Yeah.
What?
But I can't. I'm not like a good liar.
Yeah.
So it's hard to be like,
Good quality.
hey, I'm having an event.
Yeah. Can I call them and be like, hello, I'm having a poor wedding. Can you not raise $20?
Yeah.
I'm having a poor person's wedding. They're allowed to get married too.
Yeah, there should be tax brackets.
They just know that you're getting married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like when you're talking to the venue, you're like, all right, everyone's gonna be seated here, and then the cocktail hour for the birthday party.
Yeah.
Like you just have to say wedding. You really can't lie the way.
Yeah. They're
want.
not stupid. They do this every day for
For
entire,
gazillions of dollars.
Maybe you could lie to like the DJ, the person who probably needs the money.
The
The
guy's-
most.
The guy who lives in a van. You're like, hey,
Yeah.
this is a children's birthday party.
Yeah, the one struggling artist.
Yeah.
You just step on him.
You pay $100,000 for the venue, and then like slip the DJ at 20.
Yeah. You're doing it for exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but knowing starving, he'll take the 20.
Yeah.
Like he will do the venue for the 20.
Oh yeah.
We'll send you a recording of your set.
Yeah.
That's what
I
you do.
pay to do comedy at this point, so I can't I can't knock it.
No, I know. We all do.
Yeah, I mean, especially we're like you. How long have you lived in New York?
2016 is when I moved here.
And
So like 7 years.
when you moved here, like what stage were you at? Were you like kind of going straight to clubs, or were you still having to like do open mics?
So I started in Chicago 2010, and I pretty much maxed out what you can do in Chicago.
Mhm.
So I came here with that mentality where I was like, I'm the top of this thing.
Mhm.
And then, but I also knew I would lose all of that when I got here, but I had like a good substantial friend base
Mhm.
of other comics from there. And so I also set up a show really soon when I got here. So I immediately had like a place to go in
Yeah.
the community. So I didn't have to do open mics, but I did them just because
Yeah. To set your feet.
socially
Yeah.
to be around, and just to get your your feet on solid ground.
Yeah.
And I didn't really actually stop doing them until like 2019,
Yeah.
and then it just like
Did pandemic kill your open mic?
the pandemic for sure killed my. I was just like, what am I doing?
Yeah, I feel that.
But also just like at a certain point, when I have a show, it runs twice weekly.
Mhm.
I do all the new stuff that I want to do there.
Yeah.
And so I was like, why? I don't know. When you start having a family, you start like compartmentalizing your time. You're like, all right, what is like a meaningful use of my time?
Yeah.
And I haven't been getting much from an open mic
Yeah.
for years. Like, I don't know if I got anything from them when I got here. I had run an open mic for 7 years in Chicago.
Mhm.
I didn't like need it, but I just was there just because that's what I knew.
Yeah.
And then the second I was like, you know what, I don't really need to do this anymore.
Mhm.
And so that was like a freeing, liberating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I bet you're just like
It's like
taking a
graduating.
massive shit. You're like, oh, finally, I don't have to feel this inside me anymore.
Yeah. It was like taking a shit.
Yeah.
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 Most of my metaphors are gonna be equated to taking a shit.
Was there like like you said you kind of reached like the pinnacle of Chicago comedy?
Yeah, what does that look like?
What does that look like? Was there like an event you were like, oh, I'm done here?
Well, it's like when you're in smaller markets that aren't New York or LA, like I'd headline all the local shows. I would do all the clubs,
Mhm.
and I had recorded an hour.
Mhm.
So I had a body of work. I had I could get up at any show I wanted to if I could just ask to do it, and they would just put me on that night.
Yeah.
And
you were too comfortable, it sounds like.
you can do as much time as you want. And so like that's what I viewed it. And it was as much time as I wanted, wherever I wanted, like in the city, in the surrounding areas. It was like that's what I considered like reaching the ceiling of the thing. To the point where like you have people viewing you as like they look up to you.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when you come to New York, you have people you're not being pushed anymore in Chicago.
Yeah.
And then you come to New York and you see comics that you're like, oh man, that is like you're being like inspired and pushed again. So like, I guess reaching the top meant I wasn't being like challenged by the scene anymore. And now immediately when you come here, you are.
Yeah. And is that remain a constant while you're here?
I think so. I mean, there's always people coming here who are more talented than you, and there's always more people there's people that are talented, more talented than you that just stay here, and you'll always look up to them, and it never stops.
Yeah,
like maybe some of the shine will rub off, but there's people I came here looking up to them, and I still look up to them, and just keeps going.
Like Ray Moore.
Like Ray Moore.
Yeah. Listen.
Ray Moore and Flanagan.
We don't have to do this now.
That guy crushes.
I know you're a big fan, and that's why you're on here. But
yeah.
I appreciate that. I guess New York feels to me like something where that is a constant thing, because everybody feels like they're trying to come here if they want to be the best they can be at comedy. So was that like going from being at this feel like you topped out in Chicago and then coming here? Was that like, oh, this is exactly what I'm looking for? Or was it kind of like a kick in the balls?
I mean, I kind of knew what it was going to be, just because, you just know going to a new place. I know what it's like to go to a new place.
Yeah. And it sounds like you knew a lot of people here before.
Yeah. So it didn't really like hurt me the way it might have hurt if I like moved from, I don't know, like Minnesota or like an even smaller scene, because I know a lot of people who moved from like smaller markets than Chicago, and they struggled to come up just because like their friend base was like lower.
Yeah.
Whereas I came in and people were I had friends who were already established doing good things. So I had immediate credibility, and then also I was able to I just never felt like the way I felt when I moved to Chicago, where I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
And I never had to feel like that lonely.
Where do I belong?
Yeah.
Do I belong?
I immediately had places to go. I knew what everything looked like. So I think
it wasn't a complete restart.
Yeah.
It was like you had, because that is something that I don't know, a lot of people talk about, where they like move from smaller markets to here, and it's like you're starting over 100%.
Yeah, that is really hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't have like I wasn't able to get up a lot.
Yeah.
But I was comfortable, like I was able to feel happy.
Yeah. Dude, it's
I don't know about that.
It's so interesting to hear you call Chicago like a smaller market, because it is like the third biggest city in the world. The United States.
In the world.
In the world. Or I don't know if it's the third big, but it's like definitely top 5 or
huge
whatever.
Scene, dude.
Yeah, and it's a big scene. Like probably the third or fourth, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
I think probably Austin is bumped up there.
Yeah, Austin is.
San Francisco's pretty big, I think.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Yeah, they're always fluctuating. At one point, Boston was really big, but now it's kind of like shrunk down.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is big, but then you come to New York, and then you live in New York, and then you go back and you realize how small it is.
You hear that, Chicago?
Yeah.
Take that, Radio Free Chicago.
Suck it. Yeah.
I don't know if Chicago's going to hear this.
Radio Free Boys Town can suck it. Yeah, I sometimes I feel like I came here with too little, and that like, having no foundation and also no skill. So like starting here was a lot. But I also think you kind of can't do it the wrong way as long as you're doing it to a certain degree, as long as you're here. But I think like Jeff Asmus,
Mm-hmm.
like because he moved here and then he moved back
Yeah.
to Chicago, but he from my knowledge from talking to him, he got all this experience of like opening up for big headliners and then having kind of like this friends network, but also just professional network. So when he moved here, it was an easier rise up. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a hard place to just like start and get good.
Yeah.
Because like the amount of stage time is, it's like clipped. So
Mhm.
like if you're gonna go to an open mic, if you go to an open mic in Chicago, you can do 4 or 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you come to an open mic here, you do probably maximum 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And that'll like change the way you even do comedy because you're
Yeah.
like you're almost like a machine.
Yeah.
Like you're just doing a
like
bit.
quick pieces. You are kind of a storyteller.
Yeah.
Do you think that's like helped you with like the amount of you put out 5 specials at this point, right?
Yeah.
Or 5 albums?
5 albums, like I guess like 2.5.
2.5 specials?
Yeah.
What's the half one?
Well, That's It and Oh No were like intentional, thought out projects.
Mhm.
And then I just posted the video of my second album.
Mm.
And that wasn't really thought out. I just had the footage, so I just kind of like threw it on the internet.
Is that Sorry Mom?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'll call that like a half.
Interesting. What's the like? Are you calling it a half because it's not edited the way you wanted it to be?
Oh, it's just it just wasn't it wasn't thought out or anything.
Okay.
It was just kind of like it's like a half-assed.
Yeah, it was an oops special.
Well, I just had the video, and then I was like, "There's no reason not to just post
Mm-hmm.
the video." But it doesn't have, it doesn't have credits. It doesn't have. It's just the video of one of the sets I did.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
it's not even the original. It's not even the album that you hear. It's just like one of the sets
Yeah.
I did.
Okay.
Recording that. So
So that's not even the album that you would find on like Spotify or something?
yeah. So it's like there are. I mean, it is, but it's like a different set.
Mhm.
So like the words are different, or the
Yeah.
laughs aren't there, or
Yeah,
they
same material,
are.
different performance.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Jeff Asmus is in the background of that one.
Yeah.
Laughing at inappropriate times.
Yeah. He is in that one. Yeah. It's kind of funny now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just wild to like see different people in those things. But yeah, you have a line in that one where like no one cares about you less than your closest friend.
Yeah, and then your good friend.
Yeah, then your good friend.
I like that one.
That's
Yeah.
a great joke.
Yeah.
I really like that. Yeah, do you like rewatch that or like reconsider those old jokes and like think like, I could do that? Like, do you bring stuff back, or is it like once it's in there, it's done?
Once I record it, it's kind of I record it so that I don't have to really do it anymore. I mean, I love that bit, and if I don't know, if I have a moment of weakness or something, or
You'll fall back to it.
like if I can't think of a reason why I would bring that bit up again. Like, all right, if I don't know, if somebody's like, you need to tape this amount of time or whatever, and just I don't know, maybe I would bring it back, or I don't know.
Mhm.
I cannot think of a reason to go
Okay.
back and do it.
Yeah.
But it's more like each thing is just like a moment in time. Like I don't talk about I don't think like that anymore, I guess. So like that's why I abandoned it,
Oh, interesting.
because I don't like
Now, what do you think of your best friends?
what I still agree with that joke.
Yeah.
But the when I record it, it's usually because that was like a part of my life. Like I don't want to be talking about my wedding when I'm 40,
Yeah.
and I don't want to be talking about dating when I'm 55.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so like usually I record it because it's almost like a time capsule,
Yeah.
and it feels almost disingenuous to keep saying stuff.
Yeah. That's. I almost
Oh,
want
I
to hear
like
a
that.
55-year-old's dating story, though.
Oh yeah, if I
it's,
was
it's
dating,
not good, man. I don't think it's, you think dating is hard now.
yeah.
Try when your back really hurts.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting way to look at it. Like it's there's like an expiration date on the feeling associated with what you're talking about. Right?
Yeah.
So, like,
if you write bits that are like personal, then they start to yeah, you kind of have to find what you're currently feeling or what's currently going on.
Yeah, or like your perspective on something from the past currently. Does that change often?
Yeah, totally. No, I have bits from the past, but then I don't think of an end until the future.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah. Or even like what you were just saying, where you like saw your parents parenting your kid,
mm-hmm.
and you're like, "Whoa, is that how I got parented?" Like, this is a new perspective on something.
Yeah, totally. No, things from the past will always come up. I mean, the closer of my most recent one, that happened when I was in Chicago, but I just didn't have an end or anything. I thought of the end now.
Yeah.
So then now it's in the most recent one.
Gotcha.
So like, yeah.
Can you remind me what the closer is?
My friend Cameron, he invited me to this burrito place, but then he didn't really want to hang out with me. He just like had a 2-for-1 burrito coupon that he wanted to use.
Yeah.
And so he just needed somebody to buy a burrito first.
Yeah, so you get the free one.
Yeah.
You could have just done that in line.
Yeah.
Such a strange Machiavellian thing to do with a burrito.
Yeah.
I know. So he was like, "You want to get a burrito?" As if we're friends. Yeah. And then I was like, "Oh yeah, you're a friend. I'll get a burrito."
He played you like a puppet.
He did.
Like a marionette. Dude, did you notice, like, okay, so you said that moving from Chicago to New York gave you the uncomfortability that you wanted or like pushed you, but has your comedy changed at all? Like style, like confidence, stage presence, anything like that since you moved between cities?
Yeah, I mean, it's always changing. I think when I started, I sounded like a cartoon. Like people would say I sounded a lot like Christopher Walken all the time. They'd be like, "Yeah, man, all right."
Okay.
People say that.
Yeah.
And the longer I've been doing it, the more I'm just talking the way I'm talking now, which is, I guess, kind of boring sounding. You just start sounding more like your actual voice, who you actually are. So that's definitely happened. I don't know, man. Something about New York just makes you're just constantly seeing amazing comedy. And so I don't know, even though I was doing way less time, you just become so much better just because you're around it.
Yeah.
I think the audiences, they seem to like, because they have a higher influx of just entertainment, like live entertainment in general, but like you just need to be better. Like they don't put up with as much shit as like when I go back home.
Yeah.
And
I go to Oklahoma and the people are laughing at setups. And it's like, you guys are so nice.
Or you're just so good.
No, I'm definitely not. People here don't laugh at punchlines.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not good, but it's just like, they're just so ready and like, I don't know. I think
grateful.
they're nice. Grateful.
Yeah, appreciative of the fun thing that it's a fun thing that they're doing. It's not just a Tuesday.
It's not just they were forced to be barked in by somebody on the street.
They were yelled at by a criminal to come into LOL Comedy Club. Rest in peace, by the way.
They were looking forward to your show.
Yeah, it was a fun event. Did you, so you said you used to sound like a cartoon, like Christopher Walken. Did you ever find yourself sounding like someone you were like looked up to comedically? Like, I a lot of the times hear myself sounding like Louis, not doing anything like he's doing, but just sounding like.
I find myself doing
things like Louis. So yeah, did you catch yourself doing that in the beginning?
Yeah, I think everybody, like you have no reference point for what comedy is except for what you've seen.
Right.
So for me, I saw Mitch Hedberg.
Oh, okay.
I liked Mitch Hedberg a lot, and so I wrote bits like Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah.
It was like one-liners, and a lot of them were. I'm trying to think of one now. Butterflies can't kiss because they don't have eyelashes, I think was one. Because like a butterfly kisses eyelash, like just dumb idiot shit I don't care about, and it doesn't even make me laugh or smile.
Right.
But it was like, that's how I thought you did comedy, and then you're just in it longer, and then you realize, I don't know, it's like a slow road to figure out what it even is for you.
Yeah.
But I think everyone starts emulating somebody.
Yeah. Was there anyone that like you saw and you're like, I want to do, like Hedberg was probably one of them, but like comedic influences?
I mean, it's a weird one, but when I started, Pablo Francisco
Oh, nice.
was like,
Yeah.
I saw him a ton in Miami, and I always like, I really liked, he always did a different set, and he always had like this energy, and
he did the beatbox thing. He was the first guy I heard do the beatbox thing.
I always admired stand-up that I couldn't do, and so that I was like, man, I wish I could do something like that.
Yeah.
And so I would try it, and I'd be so unsuccessful at it.
Start breaking out the beatbox on the next next special.
I'm not very good at it.
Oh, you just got to work at it.
Yeah.
The comic that changed it for me, though, was Sean Patton in 2012. I saw him in Wilmington, North Carolina, at the Dead Crow or whatever. I saw him go up four times, and he did a different set every single time, like a different half hour, and each one was like so good. And he's a storyteller. I really connected to that, and then I always tried to write. That made me want to like write more. Watching somebody do that,
just to be able to do 4 completely different 30-minute sets.
Yeah, I think he shifted my vision of comedy more than anybody else.
Yeah, interesting.
Into like what it can be.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to just be this like laugh per minute joke thing. It can be this like expansive.
Yeah, I really liked. He really is so good at like a narrative and putting a button there at the end, and and it just like eats up time too, like storytelling.
Yeah. Really. Which you can put out a lot of specials.
You can put out a lot. You can't put out a lot of material if you're doing one-liners, just because it's hard. They're hard to think of.
Yeah.
But one story, you can think of a story, and you don't need bits every second. But if you have a beginning and an end, and you can keep people captivated for the whole time, then you can put stuff out forever.
I feel like that's something that you're really good at, is like getting laughs along the way of this narrative. Like you'll say something and then just like have a little side piece of something that makes people laugh, Is that like a skill you like noticeably work on, or is that like something you write, or is that just something that happens on stage?
I think I write kind of like a psycho. Like I write everything, and then I perform it. I listen
manifesto.
to it.
How you do it.
I write everything in blood, my own. So I write it, I perform it, I listen to it, I change it based on how I actually speak, because the way you write and the way you speak are different. And then once it's that, I start looking for places to punch up or whatever.
Gotcha.
But honestly, the thing that like really made me start writing that way was because when I got here, the only real time I could do was the storytelling shows. So like then I started writing longer. Like I started sticking to stories because like the open mics were just so quick.
Yeah.
So it just made more sense. Like that was just the time I could get.
Gotcha.
But you've always been a storyteller.
I've always liked it, and then I just kind of doubled down once
you mentioned being in Wilmington, North Carolina. Did you hit the road? Was that on the road? You were doing the road, or
it was a Cape Fear Comedy Festival.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Do you still do the road? I noticed you didn't have any tour dates posted on your website.
Not right now, because I'm so I just I've just put out the new hour, and then I just trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with my life.
Yeah. Well, which is so funny, because one of the things in your special, you talk about working for a moving company.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that it's not legal.
Yeah.
Like, is there any fallout from this? Does anyone that you work with know you're a comedian, or are they just like, hey man?
They do. I don't know if my boss saw the special. But I drive up to the special.
Yeah,
in
I
one
love
of the
that
moving
opening
trucks.
shot.
Yeah,
it's really cool, because you talk about it later. It's like,
and those trucks are parked right outside this.
Really?
Yeah, they park them at Morgan and Jefferson L.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So if there are any cops listening.
Is that why you were asking me if I live close so you can come?
Yeah, so I can crash at your place with your moves.
Yeah, if you have an early move in the morning.
Yeah, no, I went on the road preceding the most recent special just to run the hour.
Mm-hmm.
But now that it's out, I'm just kind of building whatever new hour in the city, and then if I want to record that, I'll probably take it on the road again.
Yeah.
But I am making no money, so I need to I don't know, this last couple of months I've just been just trying to figure out what it is I need to do.
Yeah.
To
how you're gonna fit Patreon into your subscriber life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is it start a podcast? Starting a podcast feels like I'm drowning, and my solution is to build a treehouse. But maybe I'll.
Well, you mentioned being a storyteller. It's have you ever thought about writing a story?
Yeah, I'm writing a book. So that's something I've been working on.
Is it a kid's book? I feel like a lot of people do that, and it's it's kind of successful. It's a really good way to.
I like kid God, what's it called? It's I think it's called Where is My Hat?
Yeah.
There are kids books that are legitimately funny.
Yeah.
And this one, Where is My Hat? It's this bear looking around, asking different animals where the hat is. 3 animals in, it's an animal it's like a rabbit wearing a hat.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, have you seen my hat? And the rabbit's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never seen a hat. And whatever. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he asks 6 more animals. And then he remembers, wait a minute, my hat looks like the one that the rabbit was wearing. And then he eats the rabbit.
Wow. Little Brothers Grimm.
Yeah. I love that one.
Yeah.
There are you can be legitimately funny in a children's book. And I have thought maybe that'd be a fun thing to do. But
the book you're writing.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been thinking about trying to. It's just something I wanted to do, so I'm gonna try that right now. And then, I have I've written pilots, and I wrote 6 episodes of an animated series that I want to sell. So I'm trying to do other stuff that is creatively fulfilling, and just kind of seeing what else, because I've been doing stand-up for so long, and I don't know. It just I haven't hit, and I don't know what that is, or
you haven't hit, meaning
I'm destitute. I've been doing it.
That's so funny because to us it was dude, we were incredibly over the moon to have you on the show.
Oh, I mean, I love being here. Part of that is I have no money.
Yeah.
No, I mean. This last special was I really wanted to just go for it, and I paid for all that out of pocket, and I don't know, I'm proud of that.
Yeah,
and so
it's awesome.
I wanted to. I'll do anything to try and get people to see it, because that was my big push to get people to know
David Drake,
that I exist.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know, man. It's, you always hear about the people who struggled and then they blew up.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but there's kind of a dark underbelly to the whole thing. And that's, some people struggle for a long time and they don't.
Yeah.
And so, I have a million friends that are just telling me to keep going and keep
You have
pushing.
2 more now. Yeah, how about that, huh?
Let's not jump the gun. We got a couple. We got an hour left of the interview.
Friendship is also two-way street. He's we're not friends.
Who knows? Yeah, who knows what I'll say in the next hour.
Well, if you say something controversial or explosive, we can get a clip in there. Maybe get it going. Because that's the other thing is it seems like the trend for how you build success now, and this is coming from someone who has no success. So, take that with a big grain of salt.
Hey, man. But we're all in this warehouse together.
Yeah, it's industrial space. Is as big of a hook as quick as possible and as short of a video as possible, so that there's you're catering to an algorithm and an attention span that seems to be going away from something like like longer form, like storytelling and
storytelling does not work on TikTok,
right?
Yeah.
And that has been a problem for me.
Yeah.
Because even when I clip up stuff, I'm taking pieces of a story, and it doesn't quite. There's no narrative to it. It's just like
I have heard
no
that
context.
now TikTok is pushing over 1 minute content. Like they're like trying to.
They want you looking at it longer.
Yeah. This is something that a TikTok person told me, and so like he started to make videos over 1 minute. And that they've been like pushed better. So I don't know. It still needs like obviously like the crack of TikTok where it changes from narrative stories every 5 seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe just splice together 5 different stories over a minute and see what happens.
Yeah, I've seen people.
I'll say this, and this might be a flaw. Is I've hated all the advancements in or.
Oh, you're not alone. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was late to Instagram. I was late to TikTok. I hate them. I hate looking at my phone. I'm always doing it.
Yeah.
And when I started comedy, I wanted Comedy Central Presents and I wanted Conan, neither of which exist.
Yeah.
And now it's like, no, it's okay.
Well, you had a Comedy Central spec.
I did have a Comedy Central thing, but now Comedy Central is it's a YouTube channel as opposed to it's a brand name rather than like the gateway of the United States comedy world. No, and that was a special moment, and I think comedy for me has been now very much about those like little special moments that like they gas the tank for the next decade or whatever.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned it in the special.
Yeah,
you opened that special with one of my favorite jokes I've ever heard, where you're just like, "Am I going to make no money forever, like
for a whole life,
like a bird?" Dude, that one got my mom.
It's what it feels like.
And then she looked at me. She's like, "Wait, do you worry about that?" I'm like, "Yeah, you fucking."
Everyone does.
Yeah, I think everybody does, and it's like there is something about like this, like faith in yourself and abilities that you need to keep juicing, whether it's delusional or not. It's like, is that something that you like are conscious about, like of like this thing, I have faith in myself and I just need to keep like nurturing that? Or is it like, are there just points where you're like, what the fuck is going on?
I believe I have something to say, and I believe I've spent now 14 years like getting good at a thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can do it forever, and I love doing it. I love the process of it. I love writing. I just think that the thing that I've gotten so good at is so stupid that
it's like one of those people who can do the whatever the Rubik's Cube in like 0.2 seconds.
Yeah,
that's like it's like amazing.
Yeah, great.
But 401k, kind of not going to happen with that.
Yeah, cool. You can do a Rubik's Cube very quick. Yeah, that's what I've essentially done. And so sometimes I'm like, why am I disappointed? Like with of course I'm not going to have any money. This is so dumb.
Right.
But then I have friends who are millionaires.
Yeah. Because that's the other thing, is the other end of the spectrum, which is much smaller, is like gazillions of dollars in this thing.
Yeah.
And the comparison too is also like it can be a driving force, but it could also be so corrosive. I think more of the time it feels like it is.
Yeah, I think about what pops people off, and it is I guess the comedy that I do is not it doesn't fit that. It's not quick. Yeah. And it's not that controversial.
Yeah. I was going to say controversy is the other one.
Yeah. And I don't do any crowd work clips.
Yeah.
I don't really enjoy. I like writing. I don't love asking people what they do.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Comedian almost.
The like skills that exist, and like certain comics they can play into that better, and it helps them. I don't know if I'm just on a longer road, or if this road goes nowhere or whatever. But that's why I'm also just kind of experimenting with other.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it is insane to like I can have stand up for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I can keep doing it. There's nothing stopping me.
Yeah.
But
it almost seems
as long as I have some way to make money.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to figure out.
Yeah, and it almost seems like an exciting thing to be able to like, okay, I have this thing, I'm really good at it, and I know I can do it forever. Now I get to play with the medium of like, well, what roads can I take to find like financial success or stability?
Yeah. If I got like a writing gig, or if I wrote a pilot that took off, and suddenly I was famous, I would not be in a, that position that some people get in where they pop off and then they're like, oh, damn, I don't have an act.
Yeah, let me put together an hour. And
like, I know I can do it, and I would be able, I would like, I have all my ducks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And then if anything happened, I'd be able to capitalize on it.
Right.
Yeah.
You have like a foundation of talent and skills that it's like, it's there. So when the thing happens, you're good to go. Because I think that is a big problem with like how people get big now, right? Is like they get all these specials from like posting 1-minute clips, and then you watch them do an hour and you're like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah. You can blow up, and then you just don't have that foundation of skills or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I have a foundation of skills, but I don't have that, whatever that is.
Yeah. The notoriety of social media or whatever platform followers.
Yeah. I mean, there's like no way to know what this is anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it used to be like before the like social media platform, it was just like there was certain gatekeeper type things like clubs or TV channels or whatever. And it was pretty clear, okay, I work this way and I get that, and then that happens.
Yeah, you could do the Tonight Show and it would mean something.
Yeah.
Now the Tonight Show will do worse than your own crowd work clip.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's a guy in Madison who he got on like either Conan or the Tonight Show back when it was happening. And then I saw him at Mike's in Madison like 6 months later, and I was like, what the fuck? I thought you did the thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not necessarily.
No, that was like something interesting when I got here. So many people with big comedy credits that I had always wanted when I started were at the same open mic I was at, Pine Box right around the corner.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, I just saw this guy on Conan. Now he's here.
Yeah.
And that is like kind of been I don't know, an eye-opening thing, knowing that all those people on those half-hour specials that I watched growing up were all living with roommates.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I always
They
thought
got no money for those.
I know.
Yeah, I've heard Bill Burr talk about it where he's like, he thought that was his big break, and then he just went right back to being on a futon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't realize that when you're watching it. Like, you think that comedy's a viable way to survive.
Yeah.
And then you do it for 14 years and you see what that is, and it's way worse than there's like people who are making a ton of money, and then there's the people,
the glitz and glamour of
there's not like a comedic middle class.
Yeah. There's the people making no money until they're making all the money.
Yeah. I guess I thought that Comedy Central thing was like, I don't know, to me that was like, oh my God. But also I guess I still have that thing where Comedy Central is like it was
the thing when you were growing up.
Yeah.
I'll say it was important to me for my own mental well-being, because before I got that credit, I was like, what am I not doing to not have any credits this far into the game? And so doing it made me like, now when people bring me up, they can say Comedy Central.
Yeah.
Even though it
Yeah.
was viewed less than any other Comedy Central thing.
Right.
It was like, it just hearing that it creates a level of trust with the audience. And it was a great night for me. And my parents got to see
Where was it shot?
The Cutting Room in New York.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, my parents got to be there, and they got to see me do a stand up in front of 5 cameras.
Yeah.
As opposed to no cameras.
Yeah.
So it was like it was definitely like a special thing, but it's not something that would change anything.
Yeah.
money wise. It's just like it fills me up. It fills my heart
Yeah,
more than it does.
Yeah,
Okay.
which is priceless.
Yeah. Okay.
Here on Radio Free Brooklyn.
Yeah. Tell that to your landlord.
That's what
It's priceless.
you can take some of the fullness of my heart this month. For rent.
Yeah. For a down payment.
Sometimes that's what you need.
You just give him a hug.
No, but that's huge. Like because the intrinsic stuff is, I think, what keeps you going to a degree, right?
I mean, at this point, I do comedy because I love comedy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
you still love comedy.
And I still love comedy.
That's awesome.
So in all, like, I don't know. I've really like I've had super low moments and just thinking about like just because of the money.
Yeah.
But when I actually think about what comedy is and like I still love it and I get to do it and I can kind of do it on my own terms because no one is watching it.
There's some freedom in anonymity.
Yeah. That's the nice part about New York is like nobody pays attention to you. That's why you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I get to have this amazing thing, and I get to do it for as long as I want, and no one can stop me because I'm not relying upon it for any sort of money. And so, like, as long as I can figure out a way to make sure my daughter doesn't starve,
Yeah.
and then I can do this forever, and that's okay.
Once she can use drink tickets, you're good.
Yeah. She can eat those.
Yeah, just have some.
I'm sure they have some type of fiber.
Some olives.
You know?
There's got to be, paper, tree, sap, maple syrup.
Yep.
Bingo.
Okay.
Calories.
Look at this. You come. We fix things here on this radio show.
We're problem solving up here on Radio Free Brooklyn. You mentioned like you're like there's some lows. What's your proudest moment in stand up so far?
Honestly, probably this most recent special. Just like I just knew what it was and I knew it would be good. And then I produced that show that I ran it at, and I don't know, it just felt fun the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And that never happens when you're recording stuff. You're usually not having fun. Because you're just kind of trying to just get through it. Like I remember my fourth hour, I would do a bit, and then it was almost like a checklist in my head. Like, all right, I got that one. So I wasn't like enjoying.
Yeah. You were more flow state with this one. It sounds like
This one, I had run it so much before I did it, so I knew it, kind of all the way through.
Yeah.
Even and like. Yeah, I was just, I don't know. I
noticed for this one, you actually, it's at the same place as the one before, I believe, but you put up like a background. It seemed like you like did a little more stylish than the previous ones.
Yeah, I made like an effort to like make it feel special. And I think now anything I put out further, I will always make an effort with set design. And that all came together. We had like the director, Mike Babrinskoy, his wife, Tara, she's like artistic in that way. So she was able to like put that all together for me.
Yeah.
So I gave them an idea and then they made it look cool.
What was the idea? Like, what was that conversation like?
So like I wanted it to be like something crumbling apart to reveal something new. Yeah. So,
that makes it so much cooler.
Yeah,
because I saw it. It's like a teal, like almost like
it's like wallpaper. So it's almost like the brick is falling apart to reveal.
Yeah. Something beautiful inside.
Yeah, the whole idea was like I want whatever happens after this, I want it to be different. And so like whether it's, I've recorded 3 things in that space, and so who knows? I spoke maybe a little too soon by saying that's it.
Yeah, it was like this. The next one's the encore, I guess.
Because in my head, I was like, I'm never going to record another thing in this space. Whatever happens next is going to be totally different.
Yeah, the next one's called Just Kidding.
Yeah, I've thought about that.
The background's actually falling apart.
Yeah. But now I'm like, I don't know. I already have ideas for like another thing, and I was like, I don't know. I've already mic'd up that room, and so like.
Yeah,
I've already got it all mic'd up.
It's a great space.
It's a great space
here in Brooklyn too.
It's
The
right
gutter,
here in
baby.
Brooklyn.
The gutter, yeah, one of the best rooms I think.
Yeah,
for,
it's a great
indie
room.
shows.
Yeah, it's great. I have a substantial email list running shows there, so I can always pack it.
Yeah,
and it's that blank brick wall I can always mess with. The
blank brick wall is the perfect wall for comedy.
Yeah, so I said that's it, but.
Wait, there's more.
I guess I don't have to like totally. It's good never to make definitive remarks about your own career because that'll always shift. And I made a mistake. I'm going to record that forever.
Well, I was interested because it is cool that you use the same room multiple times. I was going to ask, like, what did you learn between recording albums there?
So I've produced now a lot of albums there, like other people's work. So like,
remember you told me to watch the special and
Django
I was like,
Gold.
Yeah, I was like, that's shot at the
yeah. So Django, watching Django. My friend Kenny, we produced his there. Graham K, we produced his.
Naomi, I think, is doing.
Naomi's doing hers Saturday. We've got a bunch coming up. We produce.
Dude, is that a way for you to make money? I mean, you're talking about money. It's like you produced a fantastic special. It looks really good.
Yes. I guess the way I want to make money is not taking your money and making it my money. Like,
says the richest man on earth. Every rich man knows that's the rule.
Yeah.
I love comedy.
Yeah.
And I have made it a point to kind of I've always been a part of the community that I'm thriving in or whatever. So like in Chicago, I always ran a bunch of shows and I ran an open mic. Here I run the show.
Yeah.
And then I just wanted comics who can do an hour but they don't necessarily they're not a draw, but they deserve to put that out. I wanted to give them a shot at that. And so I don't want money for that.
Yeah.
I just want people to be able to make their thing.
Yeah.
Because that's what I like. And so the thing with the hours is like, they get to make their thing. They keep the door money. It's really the love of the game for those kind of things.
You're like the Mother Teresa of comedy, really.
I do not want to
you're
say
a
known
that.
millionaire, Mother Teresa.
Mother Teresa, well known. She had lived a fantastic life.
I don't want to say the Mother Teresa of comedy.
I don't even. This is the only volunteer person I can think of. You're like I don't know.
It's something I really truly love, and I mean I've watched Django's special like 3 times.
It's very good,
and I guess my payment is I get to watch it. You know what I mean?
Then
so
technically, I got paid.
Yeah, you guys got paid.
Which was my payment? Was I paying for with my eyes and ads? But
I guess to answer the original question, which is what I've learned, is just watching all those other people record. They've always messed with the sets, and that I had never really thought about stand-up as like a visual medium, because like when I started, the comedy album was a big deal. So like people would record albums, and then so like that was always my front and center thought, and then visually it was always an afterthought. But then like with the advent of social media and everything, I've started to kind of see what that is, and so watching other people mess with the stage made me want to mess with the stage, and that can just be. That's just as fun, like artistically trying to figure out what you want it to look like behind you.
Yeah, I've seen people put up like backgrounds at like even like the Cellar. They'll like record a special there and they'll like change the background. And I guess it's cool to hear your actual thoughts behind it. And like, okay, I want this to like represent something. Because to me, it's always just like, all right, cool. This is like a cool background.
Yeah, I think some people are just like, that looks cool. That's a cool light.
Yeah.
But there's no reason not to just like incorporate it. I guess something I watched Hannah Gatsby.
Sorry, shout out to the goat. My bad. I usually jump in on that one.
I don't know if that was
Sorry to clear my throat.
It's like, were we supposed to say something? I don't know.
Yeah, just turn off the radio now. No, I watched Hannah Gatsby at BAM Theater in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And this was, I think, last February, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like a year ago, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely before I did my special.
Yeah.
And she had a set that was very basic, but there were 3 rabbits. And when you're looking at it, you're like, oh, there's just some like visual flair or whatever. But then over the course of the entire show, she suddenly used the first rabbit. She did something to it. And
Wait,
then,
are we talking live rabbits?
No. Just
Okay.
like statues of rabbits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pulled it out of a
Hats with
hat.
rabbits in them.
Like
Yeah,
she did a magic show halfway through. Yeah.
Yeah. They're not alive. They're just whatever stage decoration. But what looked like stage decoration, she used it. Sorry, I have a dry throat.
Get out.
It's a bad. Oh yeah. Thanks. Yeah, she used the rabbit, and then she ended up using all 3 rabbits, and then I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just being able to like, you just set up things that like
Neil Brennan's Blocks did that. I don't know if you saw.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
He has like 16 different pieces of like things in his life, and he's like, why did this person give me this? They're all meaningless. Then you like shine a light on it, and it like essentially makes a silhouette of him.
Yeah. Now that I guess that's like the creative development or whatever. Like you start,
and it since it's like you said, it's like usually an audio thing. It's like it allows this like visual creative element.
Yeah.
In the specials.
You start comedy, you try to get good, and then you have a voice, and then you start recording these things, and then you just start trying to expand what those things can be.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, you can mess around with what it looks like visually. It's fun to, I don't know. Yeah, if you're gonna record something and you're gonna put it out visually, I don't know.
Definitely
fucking around with
make sure it's worth it. Right?
Why not hijack all of the senses?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can make it funny.
Yeah.
Django's special is just a plant.
I didn't even notice, but
He's just got a plant on a stool and then gold lights.
Oh wow! I
It's-
gotta rewatch. I didn't
It
notice
is
that.
funny.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but it's just like having this plant next to him the whole time.
Yeah.
What kind of plant do you know? I have to.
It's
Sorry.
a ficus. What fuck you? What is
I was gonna say ficus, but it feels like a fern.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll get someone on it
Well,
later.
yeah. I'll look it up. But you recorded in April, right? And you released a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Recorded in April, released it. Yeah, a couple. Yeah.
What was the entire time spent editing and like going through it, and then you released it, or was it like, okay, let's get this edited in a month. We'll figure out how to market, and then we'll release it at this time of the year.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's all just like editing. So like, the director Mike Babrinskoy also edited it for me, and he had a few other projects. So I would have put it out. I recorded it April 15th. I would have put it out the very next day.
Yeah.
If I had it all edited, but it just takes time.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a good editor. That means they're going to look at every bit, and they're going to make sure not to cut in the middle of a punchline, and they're going to hold on you when it's a story and it needs your attention.
Yeah.
So I had more actually involvement in the editing process of the fourth one than I did this one. This one I just kind of let Mike do whatever, and I just like believed in him. And that's a thing that you have to do too, as you like start recording stuff, is you have to just believe in like the ability of your peers and other people, because like it becomes less of a solo project like you're accustomed to, and more of like you kind of just see what other people are able to like do with your vision. Like my thought was crumbling to become something new. I would never have thought to put that wallpaper in that way. That was, Tara's idea. Mike's cuts and the way he set up the cameras, I would never have done it that way. It was just like him. So like it becomes kind of a group effort.
Yeah.
When you start, laying stuff down, you just have to like believe in.
Yeah, it's cool to see other people add to your project as well. It's like
Yeah.
providing like insightful things that you wouldn't have thought of yourself, right? So it's like coming together to make something better, I guess.
Yeah, totally.
Very cool.
It becomes a collaborative effort.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. All those Netflix specials, like, I guess Chris Rock's Tambourine, like he had Bo Burnham direct.
Yeah.
And you can really tell that it's him directing. Like, it becomes like a collaborative thing. Same with Gerard Carmichael's latest special. Bo did that. And you can feel Bo's influence in it.
Mm.
And it really adds.
Yeah.
And it's stuff that those two artists wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah.
So it's cool to like be able to play around with people's ideas.
Yeah, it's almost like it would be a fun project to do as an artist yourself. Is that something like whenever you are helping these people shoot stuff at the Gutter, is that something that you like do as well?
I can only point. I'm not like skilled with set design or.
But having done it several times now, you're not like, oh well, when we.
I just tell them to do something, because there are people who just don't.
Yeah.
Or it's like easy to just not do it.
Yeah.
And so we've recorded a few where they just it's like the backdrop's just whatever the stage is.
Mm-hmm.
But that always feels less special, and the moment should feel special.
Gotcha.
Because it's like all this time has been leading to this.
It's like especially your first special is like a mark of like, most people do that after like at least 10 years sometimes before they do their first special. I guess that's the other thing about now is like self-produced stuff is it's kind of how everybody's doing it nowadays. It's like getting enough money where you can produce your own thing, and like it's empowering, but at the same time it's like the risk is now all on you. It's just another thing where it's all on you, you know?
Well, that's something that I realized maybe too late, is like I thought that there was you get a thing and then that would just naturally lead into. I didn't realize that you have to do it all yourself.
Right. Yeah, it's just such a
the
pain
whole time.
So annoying.
Yeah. And it is really true, and this was not told to me, was just like, it's up to you to write the bit. It's up to you to, no one's asking you to do any of this.
Yeah.
You're forcing this on people.
Nobody's going to come along and be like, by the way, we want you to be famous now.
Yeah. You have to, if you want to like, you're not just going to be hired as a writer. You just got to write the thing, and then maybe you can sell it.
Yeah.
And then once you sell it, you have to write the show.
Yeah. Which is more work.
Yeah. It's like you have to do everything.
It's like you won the opportunity to do more work. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is one thing you mentioned about like you moved here and you started producing a show, and you do it twice a week. Comics You Should Know it at the Gutter in Williamsburg.
So good.
Great show.
Thank you.
But I guess it's like as someone who also like is past at clubs and like has the ability to go to Chicago and do or tour around the country as well. Is there a commitment you have to the independent show?
Yeah, I mean that show is my favorite part of comedy, because it's like it's the comics I want to see, and it's the room I feel most comfortable in. It's me working on new stuff, which is my favorite part of comedy.
Yeah.
And the space is cool.
Yeah.
And that show is everything to me. And going on the road matters less. I mean, there's clubs that I really like doing.
What's your favorite place to do comedy outside of New York and Chicago?
Outside of New York and Chicago, probably Madison. Yeah.
Come on, David Drake. Come on.
Madison's good.
Yes, dude. Comedy on State is such a good club.
Yeah, it's really great. I think about how old I was when I was doing it, and the kind of bits I was doing, and I was like, man, those bits suck. They crush so hard. I would never say any of that stuff now, but like in Madison, they just like eat it up. It's crazy.
Yes. Drunkest state in the union.
Well, that might have something to do with it, but yeah, we have a good time.
Also, it just seems like a fun place to be. Yeah. That's like not an uncommon. I've heard multiple people be like, Madison is, well, mostly you.
Yeah.
Like Madison is the
Well,
best.
I will admit some bias, but so you've done the comedy club on stage. Have you done like the Barrymore there or?
No, just the comedy club.
Yeah. Have you been since they upgraded it?
No.
Oh, they added some space. They separated the bar a little bit better. It's really, but more seats and but still the great vibe and low ceilings and.
Yeah, that place is amazing. No, I used to do. Once I got to New York, I was like, I don't really want to do the road that much because I want to just, I moved here to. Yeah. I think that's like a common mistake is like comics will move here and then they'll just hit the road because that's how they're making their money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you came here to be here, and if you stay in the city and you get past at the clubs in the city, you can.
Yeah.
I think it goes further than doing whatever the fuck in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, but you do get points.
Yeah,
you get airline points.
You do get points.
So then you can fly more.
Yeah.
So
and then you can be on the road more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you can never be here again.
It's a snake eating its own tail.
Yeah. It's a snake not seeing his daughter a lot.
Yeah. Snake eating his own daughter.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite place in the city? Other than the room the gutter?
Yeah.
You have a favorite club?
I think the cellar is everything that I had hoped it would be.
Yeah. That's my Everest.
Yeah.
It's the most beautiful. The original room is the most beautiful place on earth, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, people like the underground a lot, and it is good.
Yeah.
But that original room means some more.
Yeah.
And the longer I'm doing it, and the more meaning plays a role in what I like.
Yeah, you gotta fill up on meaning every once in a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, meaning. Yeah.
No, every time I do that room, I look around. I always assume it's gonna be the last time I do that room. I just,
It seems like a place you can't even, like, as an established comedian, aren't necessarily, like, comfortable, which is good, maybe.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of toxic energy around it. So, like, I don't know, my wife's cousin died, and then I was like, I had a cellar spot, but my wife had to go out of town, and I had to watch her daughter. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh, my God, I'm going to have to cancel this cellar spot and they're gonna punish me. And then I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why am I feeling this way? Like, this is technically my job and this is my workplace.
And you had a death.
Imagine telling your boss and you're like, hey, we had a death in the family, so I can't come in.
Yeah.
And then just worrying that your boss would be like, all right, well, you're fired.
Yeah.
That's how it felt. And then I was like, so like that energy is bad.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh man, you're always like worried about
the
never. Yeah. But I've also, I was never like you can become a person there where you're like doing it 15 spots a week or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get past there, but then you can get like, I guess like married. It's like the difference between like dating and marriage where like, I'm dating them, and then like they've married some of my friends.
Right.
But like,
and you're jealous of their relationship.
Yeah, because I'm
not jealous.
Well, I'm not jealous, but like I've had it. When I got past there, got a ton of spots right away, and then they didn't give me any spots for 8 months. And I was like, oh, I guess I just don't work there anymore. But then I kept putting in avails, and then just one day they just started. Sending me spots again. And so it's like over that 8-month period, I had like, all the stages of depression and acceptance and whatever. And so by the time they gave me spots again, I now view it as like, okay, this is a gift that I just get to be in the room and I get to just enjoy this moment. So like I've come out the other side.
Yeah.
A better man.
A healthier relationship with it rather than like a dependent relationship on it.
Yeah, it's really weird. Whenever I'm in that room, I now, because I think it's my last time, I like smell the air. Yeah. And I like take in the
100-year-old basement smell. Yeah.
I'll touch the sign and stuff.
It's like your last meal.
It is. It's like my last time on Earth. Like I've touched that cellar sign so much where I'm just like, my hand is on it.
Yeah,
like,
you're hoping
you
a
feel
comedy
the wood.
genie comes out.
Damn, dude, I love that.
I'm just like, I just know that I'm lucky to be on the stage, and so every time I'm up there, I'm like a man in war or something, where you're like, you can feel the knife go into your enemy's heart.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
What was the first time like?
First time.
Can you walk us through the first time? I want to hear like the details.
Yeah. So, someone has to vouch for you,
Mm-hmm.
and then SD, who books the cellar, gives you an audition.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is on like a Friday night, and then they give you a real sweet spot in the lineup where you do 5 minutes. And I think whoever was hosting that, they don't do any of that bullshit. Like, this next person's auditioning.
Yeah.
It's like they just treat you like you are the most famous comic in the world.
Awesome.
So they set you up to succeed. And then it was in the original room, and so I just walked on stage, and I just like, I don't know. I had been in the cellar 2010, when I had just started, and I had been in the audience, and I'd wanted it. So I felt all that, like, I'm on the other side of this. And that made me, so I was like, I felt a lot.
Yeah.
But then the thing ruining it was the lady in the back who's judging it to make sure
Yeah.
to decide whether or not you get to do it again.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Like,
that'll keep you pretty. I've never been like tighter with my bits. I wasn't like, I wasn't as like, if you watch us, like one of the most recent special or whatever, it looks like I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
Because I am. It's my room. I built it. I will not have me back.
yeah.
But that place, I think it felt like I was just like surviving, like in a way that I haven't felt in a long time. Like, if a bit didn't do well in that 5 minutes, I don't know what I would have done.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I wouldn't have been fun about it.
Yeah.
I think I would have like,
you wouldn't have flowed to the next bit. Yeah.
yeah, I don't think I would have
You
like,
wouldn't have riffed on the guy spilling a drink or whatever.
it would have hurt me, and like the whole deck of cards would have come apart.
Yeah.
Luckily, the set just went well.
Yeah.
And then whatever. And now I'm a little more loose there, just because I'm just happy to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But that audition process was like, yeah, it just felt like everything had to. I don't know. I was thinking about my feet a lot.
They're too anchored or what?
I was like, I was like, they need to be anchored, because I've watched video of myself and other comics where they're pacing around, and it creates like this nervous energy, or you.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about, don't move your feet. It's so weird, like when you break it all down. But I was like, in that audition, all I could think about was this old woman's face.
Could you see her?
Yeah, you can see her. She's right there. You can see everybody.
Yeah.
I was
hope
like,
she was in the shadows.
she was back there, and I was like, yeah, I was looking at her, and then I was thinking about my feet, and then I was like, none of these punchlines can fail. I was not like having fun.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
auditioning. You're auditioning.
I was auditioning. Yeah.
Like a true, I don't know, like a penultimate. Is that the right word? Where it's just like
Sure.
the accumulation of like a career
Yeah.
coming
no.
down to an audition.
No, it's the.
But also,
it's
have
the
you- do you know-
crucible.
Do you know anyone that's like done poorly but it still worked out? Like, or they like were able to like,
I only know people who have done poorly and it hasn't.
yeah. All right.
That tracks.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I don't know anyone who
I
fucked
was-
that up.
yeah.
And there are a bunch of names that would surprise you,
Yeah,
where you're like, that dude didn't get past.
yeah.
That dude's amazing.
Mm.
Just like, yeah, they had a fucked up night and they never got another shot.
So is that also what it feels like? Is like you'll never get another shot at this? Like, do people get second chances?
I don't know many people who have gotten a second chance.
Yeah.
Fuck, I actually wish I didn't ask that question. Fuck.
Well,
There's people who will, go through kind of what I have gone through in terms of like you'll get passed and then you'll get no spots.
Yeah.
And then you get a lot of spots. Like maybe they'll lose faith in you. Yeah. You're never safe.
Oh, interesting. Do you think they are attuned to like you put out a special and oh, David's working?
I think they're attuned to if my special blew up and I suddenly had 250,000 followers, they'd be like, oh, we should have David up more because that'll excite the,
Yeah. It's a marketing thing. It's like, oh my God, I went there tonight and saw that guy from that thing.
Yeah.
No, they like, I mean, when you go to the Cellar, if you're someone watching a comedy show, you expect to see fame.
Yeah.
And they know that. And so if you are famous or on the cusp of being famous, they will be excited and throw you up.
Yeah. One of the best shows I saw there, or one of the shows I saw there, I remember like the guy that I didn't know was the one that killed the hardest.
Yeah. That's often the case in comedy.
Yeah.
Because like the guy you do know is probably just working on new material. He's safe. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to stop Colin Quinn from coming to the Cellar.
Yeah.
They're not going to tell Dave Chappelle no.
Yeah.
So those people are going to work on new material and some of it might hit, some of it might not. They don't give a fuck because they're safe.
Yeah.
The person who you don't know is not safe and they are going to try and bury everybody. So like, you're going to like that comic more.
Yeah. And that kind of sounds fun for the person who's just like, you're the underdog.
Yeah.
In that situation.
I think it's great.
It's fun.
It's a great position to be in if they don't know who you are. Yeah.
I was going to ask one other thing we found while Googling you intensively. Not really. It was like 7 posts down. You did
a quick Google.
you did a well, actually, David Drake, there's like 30 of you guys out there.
Oh, yeah, that's true. There's the author. Drake. There's this playwright.
Yeah.
There's if you do a little typo, there's David Duke. So
David Duke, that's an easy mistake.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had a cognitive thing weirdly when somebody mentioned you one time. I was like, no, I don't know that guy.
Some dude brought me on stage as David Duke because he thought it would be funny. People are fucking crazy. I was like, I'm not.
They didn't like. They go, oh, the Hitler-ish guy. Yeah.
Oh,
the Klansman.
One worse actually was at the Cellar. There was the host brought. She couldn't remember my first name, so she brought me up as Drake. And then and people at the Cellar think Drake is.
He might drop in.
He might do a set.
Blake Griffin fucking does it. Why wouldn't Drake?
Yeah. John Mayer does a set there.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just got on stage and I was like, you really got to say the first name.
Yeah. Did that get a laugh though? That had to have broken the.
It did not get the laugh that you'd expect.
Oh, no.
They're like, he still might be Drake.
Yeah.
He still might rap for us here.
Because I too think it's funny for me to say, well, you got to say the first name.
Yeah.
Because, you might get this guy.
Important. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's worthy of a laugh.
Yeah.
But the crowd was just like, oh, it's not Drake. All right.
Yeah.
They were still recovering.
Yeah, recovering from the idea that the world's most famous artist might show up.
I was also shocked that I just wasn't doing well.
Yeah.
Right away.
Which is tough because then you're like, that wasn't your audition. Thank God.
No,
they got it right on your audition night.
Give it up for
That'd be
Drake.
Insane. Yeah.
Give it up for Drake. But what I was saying is you were in a movie at one point, an indie film.
Yeah, I did. It's so funny. That's like, I just did my friend's independent film in Chicago, like 10 years ago.
Yeah. They
just got an Instagram account or whatever. So like now they're posting clips every day, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I look like 10 years younger.
Yeah.
And people are asking like what this is, and I'm like, I can't even begin to explain.
Yeah, it's an independent film from 10 years ago that they're now trying to market.
I guess so. Yeah.
But was acting ever anything that did you just fall into it, or was it something you pursued at one time?
I think when you do stand up, it's important to get your tentacles in as many other barrels as you can.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Tentacles.
That really was smooth in the ears. yeah.
It was like a late night Google search.
Oh, you guys like that?
Yeah, slower next
Smooth
time.
tentacle to the ear.
Yeah, nice, slimy, intrusive. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so like that's why I've written pilots, and then I've done Meisner.
What's Meisner?
It's like one of the acting schools that you can do. So I've tried acting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm like a good actor, but I've definitely tried. Like, I've gone on a lot of auditions and haven't gotten really any of them.
Yeah.
But I think it's like something you'll be asked to do.
Yeah. As
it's
a comedian, eventually, it seems like those two things kind of have a large overlap.
Yeah,
at some point.
But it is a totally different skill. And there are people who really want to act, and you will not be as good as them. And they are going to get the role.
Yeah.
Well, it's like they feel like different skill sets because comedy is trying to get as close to you, and then acting is trying to get as close to some other hypothetical person.
Yeah, I definitely can't act like if you were like, Dave, we need you to be Julius Caesar. Well, I'm like, all right, well, Julius Caesar's going to be an awful lot like Dave. But I can be I can be different emotions of Dave.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can be sad.
Yeah.
I can be some version of this.
Yeah.
I can't really throw an accent on, but I can be in a buddy pick or
David, but Dave is a pretty relatable guy, I feel like.
Yeah, it's not bad. There's range here.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing to say about yourself. It's not bad.
It's not bad. It can slip in to
like Julius Caesar, not relatable.
Yeah.
Not a relatable guy.
That only really works in one film.
Yeah.
You can plug Dave into hundreds of films.
Yeah.
It'll work just smooth like a tentacle.
A tentacle in the ear.
Do you feel like it so when you did the Meisner, sorry.
Meisner.
Is that's a school in New York?
It's like an acting there's like a bunch of different ways to do it. Like I don't know if you ever did improv.
Don't have the heart.
Is that a Chicago thing? I feel like Chicago's big
with improv. So all the different improv. So there was Second City, there was Improv Olympic, there was an Annoyance, and they all had different methods.
Yeah.
So Meisner is just like a method of acting. So it's also fucking crazy. So I can show you what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I want a little live performance.
Yeah.
All right. So we're just gonna say the same thing back and forth to each other and try to convey an emotion while we do it.
Oh, this is such good radio.
Yeah.
So I'm looking you in the eyes, and I'm now going to say what I see. Like,
please don't.
You're happy, and then you say you're happy back to me, but you say what you see while you say I'm happy. So what do you see?
You're happy.
You're happy.
You're happy.
Because when you said you're happy to me, you looked confused.
Yeah.
So then I respond, you're happy like you're confused? Do you understand how fucking crazy this is?
Yeah. Because eventually, well, if you're confused and I'm confused now, isn't it just going to be a circle of confusion?
Well, we just keep saying we're happy, or but like the confusion turns into anger, which can turn into love. You know what I mean?
So it's showing the spectrum of capability in a line.
As we are saying this one thing, you're happy, like going back and forth. We do that for a half hour. You might start to cry.
Yeah.
And
that's because you're doing like Vietnamese style torture on each other.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so that you just escalate whatever that is to you add an impossible task, which creates stress. So for me, you start saying what you see. So now once you start adding words, so now like I say, oh, you're happy? Now you can say, that confuses you? And I can be like, yeah, that confuses me. And you're like, yeah, that confuses you. Like it becomes like that where you can start saying.
It's cool because in the original one, all you have to convey any variance in the conversation
Is your face.
Is your emotion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your face.
And then you add an impossible task to what you see. So I'll try to juggle, and I can't juggle. So I'm trying my hardest to juggle. And then you come in and you're like, you're concentrating. And I start to get annoyed because I am concentrating on juggling and you're fucking annoying me. And so I start yelling at you, and then you start feeling sad. The whole idea is like, you're not, when you do actually get a script, you're not just reading the lines. You're reading the person that you're reading the lines with. So it's like, so you're not just, you don't come in with any ideas. You just come in, you're like, that's the idea of Meisner, is that you're actually like being present, living with a person and saying the lines, not based on the content of the lines, but based on the content of the person.
Gotcha.
But yeah, man, I mean, goddamn, this girl kissed me.
Oh, nice.
I'm a married man.
She kissed you in our acting class?
Yeah.
And then you signed up for more acting
The
classes?
teacher said, kiss him, see what happens. So like whispered that to her. So then she just like did that. And then I was like, he was just trying to like, it was literally like that show Barry.
Yeah.
Like the teacher is just like trying to fuck with you and like get all this shit out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, and then after class, she was all apologetic. I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. It's like, it's crazy. Some people just like make out.
Yeah.
Some people like hurt each other.
Yeah. So
really
it's like
crazy.
It's really just like, I guess, trying to push the limit of your emotion. Because I feel like most people are pretty muted from day to day, you know?
Yeah.
Especially living here. It's like, dude, I've seen things that I should run away from and walked by them, you know?
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, I have a bit in the new special where like this guy is smoking a cigarette on a train and I just started looking at my phone.
Yeah, that's what you do. Yeah. You smell a little, you go, oh, that's not cigarettes or weed. So I don't know what I'm
There's definitely been that.
Yeah. So I guess the best way to deal with this is to ignore it.
Yeah, is to go on Instagram even though I don't have connection. Yeah, that is, being in a room full of people doing that sounds like a glitch in the Matrix.
It's crazy. Acting in itself is crazy because like, you can also just go and this is the thing. It's like I went through that whole class and then I was like, you know, I bet I could just probably say these words and not do any of this.
Yeah, there's no template.
Yeah.
Or there's no graduation.
Because there's a million other schools of thought. So that's like one method, but there's a million other method. One, I think you like become animals.
That sounds cool.
But then there's like also, I think Brad Pitt was like, yeah, I just go in and I just act.
I just be the most, He's like, I just be the most handsome guy in the room. That's all.
Yeah, but that's kind of what it feels like. Because I think everyone feels a little bit like they can act. Like when you tell people you do comedy, a lot of people are like, I could never do that. And please don't try.
Yeah.
But you tell people you're an actor, and I feel like everybody in the back of their mind goes, I could do that because it's just being a thing. I mean, there's levels to it where it's like amazing, but everybody has that impulse of like, I could act.
I definitely thought like that. I was like, I can totally act.
Yeah.
Every dipshit can act.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, oh, acting's actually pretty.
Yeah.
Everyone in my class cried.
Really?
Including
you?
And I did not cry.
Hell yeah.
And that's how I knew I was a bad actor.
Hell yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
Oh, were you supposed to cry? Were they like,
yeah, they want you to cry.
Yeah.
And so I tried really hard, and I thought of the thing that would make me the saddest.
Mm-hmm.
I tried so hard.
Yeah, and then
I
you
just
wrote a book
imagine my
about it.
cat getting run over by a car. You're supposed to come out of the closet. Like they had this closet and they locked you in.
Oh my God.
And when you come out of the closet, you're supposed to come out broken.
Yeah.
And they don't tell you how to do that. They're just like, come out a broken person. So I was just back there and I was just like, all right, my cat is getting run over by a car. And I was just like trying to imagine the cat getting run over by the car. And then I was trying to imagine the cat like on my belly and me rubbing it. And then it got hit over by a car. And like, I was just trying to imagine how much I love the cat and how much it would hurt me to have the cat be run over by a car. Could not cry. So I came out and then I was like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like, Maybe I don't care about the cat.
Yeah, maybe I'm too strong to break. Maybe
But that's the thing. It's like I cry. I've cried during like Mrs. Doubtfire. The end.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
The end of that gets me.
Yeah.
I've cried.
What's the baseball movie with Keanu Reeves?
Oh, fuck.
Hardball.
I don't remember.
Hardball gets me.
Hardball gets
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah. Cried during movies. I've cried because I don't know, just like a mother's. I saw like this mother like loving her son, or like the mother was sad to see the son go to school.
Yeah, yeah.
And then that made me sad. I was
Lady
like,
Bird. Did you watch Lady Bird?
it's
No, I haven't seen it.
It's good.
a mother's love really gets me.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I get that with like public displays of good daddery.
Yeah.
Like when I see like a good dad, I always go, "Oh yeah,
yeah, parenting.
Yeah, you're
done
just like,
well is
It's so hard to do.
tragic
it seems
thing.
like.
Yeah.
Well, it's because you can just visualize like this person like caring about something other than themselves.
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, what is that?
There's a lot of sacrifice there. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
No, totally. That stuff will all make me cry in the moment, but,
But
then
that's real stuff.
it's real stuff.
Yeah.
It's
And
not this fake thing in your head. You'd have to be a fucking psychopath.
That's what
it
they
takes
are.
A little bit of
Yeah, I mean,
that's what
yeah.
these actors are.
Yeah.
to make this
They're
fake
psychos.
thing
Bastard actors.
so real that you can physically change your emotions to something that isn't even real.
Yeah.
That's psychopathic behavior. Maybe.
But then it takes a weird sensitive. I don't know. But do you feel, so it seems like you do feel like these other creative things do help with stand up? Like, do they aid to it?
Oh, I mean, I think ultimately it's all probably about the human condition, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what helps, whatever more. For me, I'm like, I've always been closer to writing. I love writing.
Mhm.
So like that'll always, but I think they all kind of play into each other just because you're, I don't know, like, when I thought about Meisner, I noticed, I'd go home and I'd talk to my wife and I was way more present with like the inflection in her voice.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
interesting because you'd seen the range.
Yeah. And so I do this one exercise where every day I look back at the previous day and I pick out the moment of highest emotional resonance and then I just write that moment out and I see, so like yesterday's moment, my brother's dog snapped at my daughter and it had never done that before.
Mm-hmm.
And so just the growling, the pulling back of the teeth, and my daughter getting close to it, and then it biting her, and then she's been betrayed by the animal or whatever. I think recognizing moments like that where the emotion is high, I think acting helps you with that. But I also think that those moments are what shine in stand-up because like people connect to moments of high emotional. So anytime you think of something and it made you feel something, that's probably, whether it's funny or not right away, it's probably a good area to play around with because like it did something to you.
Because you had to beat up a dog later that day.
Yeah,
you had to fight a dog.
You killed a dog and it was your brother's dog.
Yeah.
And that's funny.
Yeah, that is good. So do those, how long have you been doing that as a part of your life?
6 years.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
And do those very often turn into bits?
Yeah, sometimes they turn into bits. Sometimes I just get in a fight with my wife and now I have a record of the fight.
like a stenographer.
Yeah. So sometimes they're bits, sometimes they're not. But it's definitely like, especially with storytelling, it's been helpful. Because like I can pinpoint places of like, all right, this is a moment of higher emotion, and then that's probably a good place for a bit or whatever.
Yeah. Before I forget, I do want to say the short stories on your website are very good.
Oh, thank you.
The foodie one is fucking hilarious.
The foodie.
Yeah, the one where the guy is like, I don't know if philanthropic is.
Oh.
He just
the
doesn't
short
give a
story.
shit.
Yeah, I forgot that.
He doesn't
I had
give a
that little
shit
section.
about anyone except for the food.
Except
He's
for
like having an
food.
affair with
Thank you so much.
So I was reading it out loud to my mom while she was making Thanksgiving food, and we were like howling.
Thank you so much.
Do you like? I mean, there was 3 on there that I saw, but
yeah.
Do you have like a lot of those stored up? Do you ever think about putting more of those out?
I do. Those 3. Basically, what happens is I will submit a comedy thing to the New Yorker. It's like my writing exercise.
Yeah.
So I've submitted all 3 of those to the New Yorker at some point, and then the New Yorker will reject it, and then the day I get the rejection email, I'll just put it up on my website.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
And it usually takes them a couple months to reject the thing. So every few months I throw a new thing on my website.
Okay.
That's like a new little thing.
If it goes to the New Yorker, you wouldn't post it you wouldn't post it there.
Yeah, then I would just post the link to the New Yorker.
New Yorker.
DavidDrakeComedy.com, right?
Yeah, DavidDrakeComedy.
Little Nothings, the writings.
Little
tab
Nothings.
They're fun. The Lemonade one is very fun too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Ways to keep cool.
Yeah.
I'm realizing they both involve some sort of cheating on your wife.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I was going to ask. Is like, there's in doing a lot of stories, I wonder, because I've heard David Sedaris talk about this. I don't know if you have read him or listened to him, but he talks about how like all of these stories that he does has had an effect with his relationships in real life, because people go like, hey, are you going to talk about this on stage, or like, could you or could you not? Like, have you experienced that, like with your family in particular?
My second album created like a 6-month rift with my parents.
Okay.
Because it was all about my mom.
Yeah.
The cover was my mom. Like I now try to have a theme for each one, and I try to like, fit as much shit into that theme as I can. That one though, I have one where one bit called Juice, where my mom is like just hounding me about drinking juice, how I'm gaining weight and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And in that bit, my dad scolds me for drinking juice. And it's not really my dad scolding me. It's my mom using my dad
as a medium,
as a puppet. And she's working him the way like a marionette. And, not a great reflection on either party. They don't love that. And so once I said all that, I felt like, all right, I don't really need to say much about I started to stay away from things that would rip the household apart.
Right. That's a good policy.
Yeah. And then with my wife and my daughter, my wife's stipulations are, she has some amazing stories and I want to tell them so bad, but I can't because they're hers. And so that's like a thing. And there was also, I had a bit on my third album about a longtime girlfriend that was actually about my wife, but my wife just didn't like the subtext to the bit. So she's like, you have to change that to not me. So I was like, all right. And so, it
seems like you mitigate it while you'll dip into it. It's like, we're not gonna totally.
Yeah. So nothing was really off limits, until, I am intentionally, I don't feel like I need to talk about my parents that much more unless I have a funny idea. Maybe then I'll do a whole
the thing is, unless you have that good, because that's another thing about like, I don't know. There's a Seinfeld clip where he talks about he's always writing, I guess about socks, but he's always doing something. And I guess I have these moments where it's like this beautiful thing happens and it's like this special thing. And then the immediate, and you ended your Oh No special with this, is like the immediate thing is, oh, that's a bit, or that's a.
Yeah.
And like, what does that do to me from as a person who's trying to be present? Like, of just instantly going, how can I show this? How can I use this? You ever think about that as like a good or a positive or just a neutral thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely probably a mental disorder
Right.
to experience the world through bits. But I mean, I've definitely learned to become more sensitive to, I guess, just my, like, if I'm gonna tell a bit, it's got to be funny, or it has to have some purpose. Like, I did this one bit in Chicago where my wife was in the audience, and I was just talking about like how hey man, if I'm in some other place, I should be able to fuck whoever I want because you're in that place and I'm over here.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't think I even really had a good bit. Like, it was just basically like, I was in California last weekend and I wanted to fuck people there. And my wife was crying.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck. I guess if I'm going to say something, I have to be more cognizant of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm going to keep it so personal, it has to be, it just has to be more thought out. So I can joke about anything as long as I like really, I have to like consider.
Yeah, like not just I want to cheat on my wife.
I can't just say I want to cheat on my wife.
Yeah, maybe it's like the distance has made my heart grow fonder.
Sure, maybe I can be more poetic.
Yeah.
And now I would like to cheat on my wife.
But what about if you're in space?
Yeah. See, now we're
is it cheating if it's intergalactic?
Yeah.
My problem wasn't
If you were an
the
astronaut,
cheating. It was I didn't go far enough away.
Yeah. You should have gone. Yeah, you went to like the town next door.
or long enough. You're like, I was in California for the weekend. I had a 48-hour stopover in LA, and
I think the idea was like if a bear has sex with another bear and then it walks to like a different bear's territory, it can just have sex with that bear. I don't really know what the premise was, but
you didn't cover her angle either.
No.
Is she allowed to?
I did not talk about that.
While you're out of town. These are the questions I got.
I did not discuss that. Although I
Keep
did
working on it.
I did try to think about it. I got to a place where I was like, okay, with somebody going down on her as long as it was transactional and she didn't laugh.
Yeah, that's funny.
I didn't want any sort of
funny man doing
I didn't
it.
want any sort of bond being formed. Yeah.
Was this
so that could be a bit, but that's where I got.
But that's where you need to
Thinking.
apply more awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, cheating on your wife bits are probably not good for the household. I imagine your kid grows up and is like, "What the dad? What the fuck?"
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. How much? I mean, within comedy and without comedy, like, what has like fatherhood? How has that affected like your view on things and like what's funny and what's not?
Well, it's like, I don't know, when you become a dad, it's like almost it completes the circle of awareness. So like now you're seeing your parents, you can like you see what they were doing that whole time. You're like living the world from the other side almost.
Yeah.
So it's like, it just adds a new dimension of like understanding to the whole process. Like, you know, when I was a teenager, all I wanted to do is I wanted to go out. And so like, you know, I stole a car and I'd go to a party and, you know, like those are the memories I have.
Yeah.
Now I know the other side of that. While my teenager is stealing my car and going to the party,
Right.
I'm going to be up at night.
Yeah.
Wondering where they are, furious. I have work tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're fucking up my day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I have all those real emotions that like, and so like that all just helps with comedy too.
Has it helped you form like a different perspective that's made you like more sympathetic to your parents at points?
I guess so. I don't know. It's hard with your own parents just because like you're so shitty to your parents.
Yeah.
So it's hard to empathize with those. They were your enemy for so long.
Yeah.
The enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, it's harder to empathize. I can empathize with a parent.
Mhm.
like when I see a parent, I saw a parent on the train with a kid today. I always smile at kids now. I don't know if that's good
Depends
or bad.
What's your smile?
It's like, hey, like I interact with them more than I.
Yeah.
Just because I know it's a kid.
Yeah.
And I got one of those.
Yeah.
Right.
So like I'll like wave at them.
Yeah.
And or I'll like nod at the whatever drunk
parents.
father. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but the drunk father knows that nod. He's like, that guy's. Does he know you're a dad? That's the question.
I think like dad recognized dad, you know?
Okay.
Ah,
Okay. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like a sixth sense.
Yeah, you can feel it on someone.
Yeah.
No, I mean, so I am like, I don't know, I'm aware of families.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think probably anything that adds any type of new perspective is good.
Yeah, and it's like, there's definitely, I try really, really hard not to do cliched bits about being a parent or being married, or I try to keep it as like personal as possible, because there's so much material about children and marriage.
Yeah.
But there is a lot there just because it is like, I don't know.
There's a bit, I don't know if it's in That's It, but about you like going to a bar in a video game.
Oh yeah.
Is that That's It?
Yeah.
Where it's like you're like cheating virtually in this video game, and like they like catch you and like turn on you, and your wife walks in.
It's The Witcher 3. I don't know if you guys played that, but
It's a hard game.
you can date the characters.
Yeah.
And so like, and if you date one and then you start dating another, you're cheating on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And those actions have repercussions later in the game.
It's like
but-
emotionally cheating on 3 different people.
Exactly. So my wife caught me cheating on those 2 women, which was felt like a betrayal to her.
Yeah.
That's
So the bit is every single woman, real or fake, in the room was mad at me.
right.
Yeah.
What
awesome.
what do you have like a favorite story from your time in comedy, like a craziest night, or oh my god, this actually happened, or
Craziest nights in comedy. I mean, I have like, I think the funnier ones are like the bombs,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a lot of those.
what's your most memorable bomb?
I guess I can do the 7th time I ever did comedy. I won a competition in Miami,
Nice.
and my prize was I got to open for at the time SNL cast member Finesse Mitchell
Oh, cool.
Okay.
in front of I don't know, 600 of my peers at the University of Miami, and it was a big show. And they asked me to do a half hour, and it was the 8th time I ever did comedy.
That's insane.
And the
Wow.
previous 7 times, I had always written a new 5 because I was just going to an open mic and I would do 5 minutes. And so I was like, all right, I'll just write a new half hour. And then
He didn't even do the.
I didn't even do the 5 I had.
Yeah.
I wrote a half hour, and then I went on stage, and my first joke was Finesse is a bald guy, and Finesse is also a shampoo. So I was like, this guy can't even use shampoo. The Finesse and Paul Mitchell is also a shampoo.
Yeah.
So I think it was like some wordplay where it's like Finesse Mitchell. It's 2 different types of shampoo that this guy can't use.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, not even a bad opening riff, but that got nothing, and then it only went downhill from there. I went over my time.
Whoa.
I did 31 minutes. By the end, everyone was just talking to each other. Like they just were not paying attention anymore. I was just annoying a fun time.
Yeah.
I was like a lunatic on the
Yeah.
in like the park where
Yeah.
you're screaming and no one else can like.
Yeah. But
Everyone's trying to have
an
a
amplified lunatic.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, you were smoking on the train.
Yeah. So I was ruining this time, and then Finesse went up and did an amazing job. And while he was up, I got really drunk and really high. And then he got off stage, and I hugged him really hard.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Just apologizing to him. And then I got home to my whatever apartment, and there was this banner. It said, "Congratulations, David." because it was a big deal. And all my friends had set up this party assuming I would succeed and we'd all have this great night. And so all these people are at my place, and I was just so drunk and high and sad and and I just had to be in the middle of a party.
Yeah. That's what you should have thought about in that closet.
Yeah.
That night.
You would have came out broken.
Yeah. Just walking back into that party.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then my friend Chris Red was on SNL for a while.
Yeah.
And so I went to SNL. And we went to the after party, and then Finesse Mitchell showed up to the after party. And this was, I guess, 16 years later. And Chris forced me to tell Finesse the story. And then Finesse was like, oh, yeah, I remember. You're the only person who ever apologized. Like, no one apologized to him ever.
Yeah.
And then we hugged. And there was a catharsis.
Yeah.
And then Chris said I owe him a real moment.
Oh, really?
Sometime in life.
Nice.
I owe him like a poignant, something.
You have to reconnect him with someone
something that means
you
something.
have to pay it forward.
I owe him a moment that means something to him.
I mean, I guess we can maybe have him on here, but
We'll see what we can do.
That'll be the low point of the thing that you can have him on XM radio sometime.
Well, thank you so much for this. Has been awesome. Thank you
thank you guys so much for having me, man. It's a pleasure.
Plug it up, whatever you want to.
Well, I just want to plug the special. That's it. Streaming on YouTube and daviddrakecomedy.com.
Yeah.
You can check out all the previous hours, specials, and
That's It is the name of the special.
Yeah,
for what it's worth.
Stay for the whole time because there's a great joke like after the credits. That's super funny.
Yeah, I like that one too. And that's also it's on Spotify as well.
Yep. Also, Comedians You Should Know is a run twice a week, Wednesdays and Saturdays?
Wednesdays and Saturdays at the Gutter in Greenpoint. CYSKNYC.com for lineups and tickets.
David Drake Comedy on Instagram and TikTok?
Yes.
And,
hell yeah.
Grant, you want to plug anything?
Grant Moore 23 on Instagram. Please come to my show, Sophomore Slump, on November 30th. Great lineup, room 52. It's going to be so much fun. And if you don't come, I'll kill myself. So please come.
Nobody come.
And then Ludwig von Poop on Twitter. So hit me up.
All right. You're really going for it.
I'm going to make it one day.
This is Humza, HUMZ.AH on Instagram, TikTok. Also, if you're around December 7th, Good Idea Comedy, it's at Gulabo in Midtown. You can follow Good Idea Comedy on Instagram as well. There'll be tickets, things like that. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you all later.
Thank you, David Drake.
Thank you.
Harmony, we ain't gonna write no symphony.